No, something is happening.
Yes. Do you see it now?
Yeah, yeah.
You see it. Okay, good. I also hope that you are able to see the full slides because now it doesn't give me the option to do it in the slide master mode. So just let me know how you see it. So first of all, I would like to warmly thank to Paola, to Pirko, and Christina, and the whole team for inviting me to be the main speaker today. I really hope that I will be able to pass the key messages and also to boost the motivation and inspiration to take the part in being active in the S3 platform, and for you to see the value of still being the part of the S3 family. There are definitely some challenges, and I think that it will be good to have an open discussion about it as well. But still, there are the benefits of it, as Paula also mentioned already, and this is the topic of today's session. So I hope that jointly we will be able to come to some conclusions, but also recommendations on how to proceed. Because being the AMI expert of DG region, working on the assignment of supporting the S3 partnerships, I will be more than happy to also to listen to you today, so that I get as much input from you as well in terms of what could be improved, because this also is part of my mandate. So I will not talk a lot about myself, as Paula already introduced me, but yeah, just to say that the reason why I'm here and speaking to you is because, as Paula said, for the last, I think it's now more than 5 years of reconfirm and less a bit of a tough. So these are the two technical assistance initiatives of the European Commission that I was fully involved and I was managing together with other partners. So especially when it comes to reconfirm, it was a great experience in working close to S3 partnerships of industrial modernization. And depending at which stage the partnerships were, to guide them towards setting the stones for the partnership, to work on the investment ideas as well as on the governance for further activities of the partnership, and then through TAF, the technical assistance facility, to support the more mature partnerships in having their business ideas already translated into the business plans, and really take them to the point that they would they would have a good unique value proposition, and that the business plan proposition in general ready to go to ask for funding. One of the funding streams that now everybody is very closely looking at, it's this I3 that also Paola mentioned, which is going to be out very soon in terms of the calls. So I will try to provide you as much with more information as possible, because we heard now that some things are changing. So hopefully, still, the majority of the information that has been, collected, would still be valid, and to give you a good picture on how to proceed. So without further ado, and not to go much in depth into that, and into my biography, to put it like this, I would like really to go further into the future, of the S3 platform and the partnerships, which is the topic of today, and give you some more information on what has changed as of beginning of this year, and also what is gonna be most probably the future outlook when it comes, to the S3 platform, and how the activities, have been envisioned. So what has changed? I don't know if you have been aware, but yes, as of actually beginning of this year, the Joint Research Center is no longer managing the S3 platform, but all the activities, meaning, you know, the platform itself, as well as the activity of the platforms, you know, have been transferred to the European Commission, to the DG Regio at the moment, but it is envisioned that at the end, in some period of time, ICMIA, the new established European agency, will be the one that will be taking care of the facilitation of the platform and the partnerships. But in the meantime, meaning that at the moment, when it comes to the platform and the partnerships, it's three of us AMI experts that are taking care of this transition. And this will probably be the case until end of October or end of this year. This is to be decided. Once we stop with our activities, then the DG Regio will select the contractor, which may be, you know, one company or several in a consortium, that will actually then take care of the platform and the partnerships and all the activities, most probably until, you know, some point in 2023. Which means that, you know, there are a lot of transitions. You know, first it was from JRC, you know, to us, the experts, and then, you know, it will be to another contractor that will take care of the activities. Unfortunately, you know, the downside of it at the moment is the fact that there are maybe the current, you know, page of the European Commission, it's not working that well as it was, you know, in the past. Because, you know, some of the functionalities are still not there, and also unfortunately, you know, not also all the documents. And I know that the partnerships have also been, you know, complaining to us that they were not able to, you know, submit, you know, some of the changes or the reports. But we are really trying to address this, and hopefully this will be in full function very soon. But it is, you know, to say that when it comes, you know, to our mandate of the experts, because it is just three of us, it is also to say that we are doing whatever, you know, we can and what it is possible to support the partnerships by their individual requests, also to, you know, try to improve, you know, the web outlook of it as well. But also our main mandate, you know, till, you know, October on the end of this year is really to get in touch with partnerships, to have bilateral meetings, you know, in order to assess, you know, the stage of maturity that partnerships are at the moment. And as I was saying, moreover, you know, what can be done so that this, you know, future that we'll be talking about today, you know, it looks more forward, you know, for the partnerships, and that, you know, this exchange also, you know, with the Commission, it's, you know, much better in that regard and much more effective. I think that most of you, at least I hope so, were also taking part in the last steering committee meeting that took place in July. There is a second one that is incoming. And what was good about this meeting that a lot of the, you know, different representatives of the European Commission were present. So they listened to the partnerships and, you know, all these interesting ideas, you know, that are under development, in particular when it comes to the investment projects. So they have expressed their interest. There are really several of them that they really want to go more into in-depth discussion, you know, with the different partnerships, and to see how they can be supported, which I think it's a very good news, and it was something that, you know, it was missing. So we will also try to facilitate this during our mandate. So when it comes, you know, this is us, you know, the experts that we are working with the partnerships at the moment, which means that we have been, you know, divided also in terms of the partnerships we are supporting. So me and Luigi We are working with all the partnerships on the industrial modernization, while our colleague Cecilia is working with the energy and agri-food. So, depending then of the thematic platform, we at your disposal, to be contacted. So what are the envisioned activities until the end of the year? And I'm sorry that I will not be able to talk really more, about, the future, beyond this period, because this is something that, we are still discussing with the Commission, and, it's what I shared. But what I can say that, as I mentioned already, what it's ongoing is this kind of bilateral talks that we are having. So we've been going through all the monitoring reports that have been submitted, and we'll be, in touch with the partnerships that we have not speak yet, in order, to get more input and, some clarifications. And as I was saying, without, regardless if it's a criticism or if it's, some, good, good recommendations and actually, good exchange, and the activities that were, happening so far, we really want to present a realistic situation, to the Commission, and really provide, what would be good on, going forward. So that, as I was saying before, that you feel the benefits of being part of the platform. What is also going to be, done on our behalf is based on all this information that we are going to collect. We will revise, most of the documents that have been produced by the JRC in the past, and try to be provide more operational guidelines for the Commission and for the partnerships in that regard. So as I said, that it's that this becomes more effective in terms of the future, and what can be done in joint collaboration. So there will be a lot, coming from us in that regard in a due period, and we really hope that we will do a good job when it comes to that. Then also what is planned, that the Commission will organize the next steering committee meeting of the platform. That will be most probably in December. That will probably have, the same mode as it was the one in July, meaning that there will be one day of the plenary session, and then there will be the next day will be committed to the partnerships and these bilateral interviews that maybe this time will take more than one day, due to the interest of different directors of the Commission. And we will also try to prepare it in this way so that it's really more effective, for the partnerships and for the Commission, meaning, setting the scene for these talks, so that it's not only about the presentation and, just, having, this kind of, regular exchange with the Commission, as it was the case so far. Due to the fact that we saw that there is always a problem with having industry on board, we had also several talks with the cluster, European Cluster Collaboration Platform, as well as with the DG GROW unit that is in charge of clusters. To see how then partnerships, can benefit more, from, these, two departments, so that, depending also on the maturity level of the partnerships and the investment projects, they are developing, that, the type of, matchmaking events, call it like that, are organized, but at a more strategic and effective level. So we are also preparing that, and trying to have at least one or two still this year, and if possible, we will also inform you in the due time of this opportunity, and to have also in a way your input on the concept, and if you feel that this will be beneficial for you. There are also a number of other events happening, and I saw that Christina was also exchanging, the information about this yesterday with the Mining Partnership about different type of webinars that are taking place. because technical assistance facility is unfortunately finishing also this year. There will be a set of very useful webinars for the partnerships in terms of different stages of development and the tools that we have been developing in the scope of this initiative. So stay tuned. There is a webinar tomorrow on the financial planning, and then also there will be a few more in this period of October, and then the final conference that is going to take place on the 18th of November. Also, there is, and I will talk more about this now that I will tackle the I3. There is going to be the info day about this funding instrument that is on the 19th of October. I will also share with you the link, which is the registration is already open. There will also be the live streaming of that event, but I think it will be very good to be present if you are interested in applying, because this will be also the opportunity to exchange with the Commission and to ask questions, which will for sure be very helpful then for you to to have to set the scene and start thinking and actually preparing the application. So as I was saying, this is more or less how it's envisioned that there will be the interaction with the S3 partnerships. So as I was saying, us AMI experts supporting until there will be a new contractor coming that will take care of the facilitation. And I guess everything will be announced timely once there will be again changes and transition happening. But then I would also recommend that you use us experts well in this period, so that because I guess it's much easier to have this kind of one-on-one individual exchange, so that we can really pass the good recommendations and do good work in terms of the future outlook of the platform. So talking about the benefits, even though through the exchanges with the partnership, it is really true that there are a lot of challenges that we are facing, especially when it comes to lack of resources, for coordinating the partnerships, to motivate the partnerships to continue. Still, we see, with, different partnerships, and some of them, are also with us today, and we'll talk from their experience. Most probably, most of the regions and organizations, would not have the chance, to meet and work together and collaborate as if it was not for the S3 platform, and, this opportunity to work together. So, having the chance, to be, mobilized and organized around, certain, domains, and actually putting the certain thematics on the agenda of the Commission, I think it is the benefit of itself. So it gives the critical mass of, having, that many partnerships, and different type of organizations working together. And hopefully, with this incoming, funding instrument, even greater motivation will be there, especially when we will see the first projects projects being funded through the instrument, and then really changing the landscape of the regional policies as well, and the projects coming from that end. So it is hard, it is really not easy, but it's also inspiring then to see how much it has been achieved by certain partnerships, and definitely also having the opportunity to exchange with the others, to find synergies, as we are finding now also when thinking of building this value chains and applying for the instrument. It's also definitely of a good value, and it's to continue this dialogue with the Commission, and also trying to put their attention on what is happening in the regions and what is important. So, this kind of dialogue should be definitely strengthened. And this is also something that, we, as experts will, work on and, really, try to guide the Commission in that regard. So I would say that, being part of the platform is the way of, taking part in the policy making. And it gives, the opportunity to get closer, to the Commission and to other institutions and, regional and, national, governments. So hopefully, this exchange will be even more strengthened in the future, and it will, have even a better outlook. So this is, how I see it in terms of the benefits and working with most of the partnerships so far. And I really hope that, that this will continue in this way, and it will be, even better. But that's why it is very important to have this open discussion today that we will have a bit later, and, to hear your thoughts so that we can, take the key messages and, the input from this discussion today as well. And as I said, hopefully then, channel, this to the authorities. So I would conclude on this part and go directly into the I3, and feel free, and I hope that then we will have more time, to go back, and discuss some of these issues as well. So when it comes to the I3, as I already noted, it is the most wanted or waited instrument, for a long time, because working with the partnerships, everybody was always asking, well, this is very good, and we are putting a lot of efforts, but then, we don't find the right funding instrument, for this type of cross-border investment projects, because it's different, to work on Interreg and, to look for funding in Horizon. But investment projects, especially when, there are more countries involved, a bit something different. So it took a long time for the Commission then to come up with this instrument, but it is here now. It's really a reality, because the first calls will be launched on the 5th of October. So now it's, the time to learn more about it and to utilize the funding. So this is the part of the cohesion policy. The budget, is more than 500 million, and it's supposed to be distributed in this, 7-year period of, Horizon Europe program. It is the main aim of it is to scale up and accelerate the innovation, coming, from the investment projects that the partnerships are working on. But it's not only that the partnerships will be able to apply, they will open it, to the others as well. But the thing is that it is mostly targeting the S2 partnerships, because the eligibility criteria, those that will be, easier met by the partnerships, but somebody that is coming completely new into this game, if to call it in this way. There are some changes, and I will mention them a bit later. But the core of it is that Horizon Europe rules apply when it comes to eligibility, which still needs some clarity when it comes to the third countries' participation, because we are talking about the RDF funding. So there are, there are differences in that regard, and we are still waiting, for the Commission to give us clarification. When it comes to its modality, we are talking about grants. But depending on which strand you would be applying for, it then depends if it's 70% or 100% funded. So when we were talking about the DS3 platform and the thematic partnerships, here is the correlation that you can see in between the instrument and the thematic platform. Because when we are talking about the policy objective 1, which is very much related to the I3, We are here talking about the good governance, the link to the good governance and the measures of international collaboration that very much apply. So for that reason, as I was saying, there's the S3, the thematic platforms under S3 are much more, linked and, much better suit the eligibility maybe than the others, which will still have the chance to apply, of course. And from the broader perspective, the idea is apart from scaling up and accelerate the innovation is, as I was saying before, to really strengthen the regional innovation ecosystems and, through this funding, to develop the value chains. And so also the thing is that since this will be the collaboration in between less developed and more developed regions, then it's really, to strengthen, the ecosystem by itself. So how this was envisioned, in general, and why i3 is coming, in this, value chain, if we can say, of, the technical assistance that has been provided by the Commission. So from those of you that were also part of the Reconfirm family, to call it like this, so, and also working with different AMI experts, supporting your actions, especially when you were starting, it was, this phase of learning, and, connecting. So as I was saying before, it was the chance that we work together, that we, try to set the scene for the partnership and to work on these first investment ideas. Moving from Reconfirm and this learning phase, it was to go to a more mature phase of the partnerships where, the investment ideas were already clear and they were at this demonstration and commercialization phase or close to it. And this is also where the technical assistance facility, through its business expert, was trying to support the process. So that, all these projects were at the level that they were able, to show the market readiness, the investment readiness, and, being able, to go into the market. So, and this is where then the i3 comes. So this is also the advice, for you thinking, to applying for the instrument, having in mind the maturity that I will now address in more details, then decide for which instrument to apply. Because if you are not at the level, of the piloting or demonstrating, your innovation, then it's better to think about the capacity building action that will prepare you then, to later on apply for these steps. So, this is when I'm talking about the maturity. So the investment projects that will be eligible, at least for the first two strands of the i3, should be investment ready, meaning that you need to have, the project at the level of, the good business plan that, it has all the elements as you would be going to the bank and asking for a loan. So what are the different types of the calls that will be launched and the modalities of it? So the first two calls that will be now launched on the 5th of October are Strand 1 and Strand 2A, how it's called at the moment, in the jargon of the i3. Which means that it is the differences in between the consortium, the regions that could apply for one of these strands, having in mind what is the maturity level also of the ideas that is going to be endorsed. So when it comes to the first strand, this one is targeting really mature partnerships, meaning more really mature investment ideas. That also that are going to be presented by more developed regions, and at least to have one less region taking part in the consortium. When it comes to this more and less developed, you very well know, which ones go into which classifications, because as you can see, that it's noted, below, this is according to this NUTS clarification and, the GDP. There are also some regions that are in the transition level, transition period, going from less to more. And I think that at the end, they will be able to apply as more developed regions. But I guess this is also going to be very, very explained, in these calls that are incoming. Also, the budget depends on a strand. So when it comes to first strand, as you can see, the overall budget, it's close to 280 million. When it comes, to the second one, it's 250, and then the last budget has been budgeted actually for these capacity building actions. The difference in between 1 and 2A is, as I'm saying, about the overall funding and also the level of maturity. Even though the theoretical level of the presented ideas, it is the same, but it's it is a bit simplified, for the strand 2A, and I will say now, I will more talk now I will say more about this in the incoming slides. So when now you have a look at this first strand that I already said is for more developed regions, as you can see, they don't plan to fund more than 4 to 5 applications, but the grant size of this individual application is from 8 to 10 million. So it's much bigger budget than is for the strand 2A, per single application. What has changed here, while actually we are waiting for the confirmation, is that it was envisioned that the modality of the funding, one part of it is going to be the cascade funding, because the main beneficiaries should be the companies, in this case, as is the case in the strand 2A. But it looks like that this may change, and that the cascade funding will not be part of this funding modality, but that this will be, the type of the innovation, action as, in its own elements as, usual. But this is something to actually be more explained, and hopefully now that the first draft call will be out, we will have more information about that. And actually, this was the part that was pretty much criticized during public consultations, and maybe that is why the Commission is considering maybe not to include it as the funding modality. What is here important to note that this is not 100% funding, it's the 70% as it is the innovation action. So, when thinking of applying, also think that, there's this 30% that needs to come, from other sources, because it will not be 100% funded by the Commission. So in terms of the consortium, as I was saying, the idea is to have at least 5 regions on board, and one should be the less developed one. And even though the beneficiaries are the companies, it is envisioned that the consortium should really be composed of these so-called Q-helix actors, meaning that you need to have on board all the relevant organizations that are needed for the implementation of your investment idea. So is it research organizations, academia, companies? You need to have everybody on board, to secure good implementation. What still is also unclear, it is the role of the public administration, because in the first presentations it was said that they should be the applicant, which we think that it's not the case, but that the consortium should be endorsed by its public administration, because we are talking about the funding that is part of the cohesion policy. But also this is something that we have addressed with the Commission, and we are waiting for more clarification. As you can see, the type of the investments sought are actually the ones that will help the acceleration of this innovation technology, solutions, services, to be endorsed in the market. And that the focus is, that, the SMEs that are usually having problems, in facing this demonstration stage at the international dimension, that, this, that this is overcome, by this funding. When it comes to the 2A, so this is the second call that will also be out on the 5th of October. As I was saying, it's, almost, the same as the first one. But the difference here is that this one is targeting less developed regions. So, and there's also less partners needed in the consortium, meaning that in this one, we are talking about, 3 regions and one, being more developed one, because again, we are talking about building all the value chain. So it's very important to have more and less developed together. But when it comes, to the average grant size per call, this is 2 to 3 million. So it's not 8 to 10 as in the first one. But what is good about this is that there will be more applications funded. So in this case, we are looking from 12 to 15, which is much more significant number, because in the first one, it was, 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 at maximum. Again, as the cascade funding, should have applied in this case as well. But as I said, it's this is to remain to be seen if then again this is going to be the case or not. And also what I forgot to say in the first case, and this applied for the second one as well, that there is 7% of coordination costs that will be for managing the consortium and the activity, so that it's not that everything goes to companies. There is also part of the funding that of course will be for other activities, and now it's to be seen, since if the cascade funding will not be applied in this case, then what other eligible costs will be included. So again, when it comes to the type of investments that are sought with this trend, it is also very much as in the first one, but here the focus is really more in building the capacities towards building these global value chains, and including the less developed regions being the part of them. So that's why it's called that this strand is more simplified, because it is not so much into demonstration and piloting. It is also more in creating conditions for the innovation uptake. When it comes to the 2B, which is the strain that is not going to be funded, actually that is the call that is not going to be out this year. More probably it's going to be out in the beginning of the next. It is more for the capacity building. So all of the partnerships that are still struggling with shaping their investment projects, bringing in more regions, into their partnership, that they need to do still more of, the analytical type of work. Then they should look for this trend, because as you can see, this one is gonna target especially this type of activities. So if you need to work more on mapping, if there is more capacity building with and twinning with business sector needed, exchange through Erasmus type of activities, or the project implementation, then this is the strand to look at. Here, the funding, it's not as big as in the first two. So we are talking about the $500,000 of a grant size. And this also means that up to 8 applications will be funded through this instrument. This one is 100% funded, because we are talking about the CSA. And as I said, here the focus is on strengthening the capacities. Thus also the consortium again should be the one that is built of all these relevant actors that you need depending on the actions that you want to target. And in this case, the Q-Helix actors are ones that are actually the beneficiaries of this action. So what are the main elements to consider when thinking of applying to the I3, apart from what I already mentioned? So as I was saying, if you are, regardless if you are thinking of strand 1 or 2A, you need to think, of the tier level, of your investment idea, the one that you have in mind, having a look, at this, innovation component, the how to say, the strategy, but how it's defined. So, if you are not at least, close, to level 5 or 6, meaning that you are already, ready for the piloting, then it is really better that you look at, this capacity building strand, or, you work, on, getting to this level, because otherwise, most probably, you will not be considered investor ready, or, investor ready for the I3. When it comes, to the main components to have in mind is that, as it's shown here, your innovation idea should already be, at the level of, a good business planning, meaning that all these elements that you see on these slides are already included, so that you are very well aware how, what is the market, where you see that your innovation, technology, or service will have the uptake, that you very well know what is your unique value proposition in that regard. And what is the advantage that you are bringing, with this service to the market, and also knowing your competitors well, and having again, this added value, when it comes to compare to them. You also need to have a very good consortium, meaning, key partners, on board, because, as you would need to convince the bank, you also need to convince, the commission that you have the right skills and capacity for the implementation of the idea that you're having in mind. Then, of course, the very good financial planning already in place, together, with the cost structure and the revenues, and also, who are your target customers and the distribution channels that you are planning to use. We also, through the TAF, we were working a lot with the projects, to come, to have, this picture, at the starting of the business planning, through Lean Canvas, because it always helps, then to distill, this information. So it's also highly recommended if you are still struggling with that, to have a look. But this is a good slide, to have in mind, when you'll be working out your idea. Here it's to see, what are at the moment, as we know, the eligible costs that would apply depending on the strand. So you see that for strand 1 and 2A, we are talking about, the direct costs that will be related to development of the investment projects that are one of the eligible costs. Then value chain investments, then, everything that goes and is related to the piloting or demonstration. And here we are talking about the living labs, test beds, demonstration facilities, etc. And again, this coordination costs up to 7%, if not maybe now higher, are the ones that you can count on. While when it comes to the capacity building action, then, it's all, it's related, depending on, the activity that you are going to apply. When it comes to the time frame, as I mentioned, so the first calls for the strand 1 and 2A are gonna be out on the 5th of October. This has been confirmed several times, and then most probably the deadline is not gonna be changed. As I was also saying, it's good then, to be participating at is the info day related to the instrument that is going to be on the 19th of October. So here's the link, please register, because then really all this missing information, that I was not able to share with you, or some clarifications, should definitely, be clarified during this occasion. Also, what we were told when it comes to the deadline for submitting the application, that is going to be a bit short. Usually it's at least 2 months. In this case, it looks like, that the deadline is going to be end of November, but, let us see if this is going to change. Of course, it is not that these are the only calls that will be out. So after this first sequence for the strand 1 and 2A, and then the third one being launched sometime in beginning of next year, there will be then subsequently other calls going out again. So if you are not ready now, this is not the end of the world. Maybe for some will be even better to wait and then how it will go with these first rounds and what will be the lessons learned so that you can be better prepared. And this is, just to give you the information on the info day on the i3. So you can see here the agenda. It's not going to be a long session, but still, the call should be presented really in a lot of details. And yeah, hopefully, as I was saying, everything should be clarified in terms of, the eligibility and, how the application, should be structured and what is expected. So I think that I was already talking a lot, but I hope that I really was able to give you the a lot of information in terms of at least when it comes to the i3, so that how is this envisioned. And yeah, I also wish you all the best in applying and take benefit of this instrument finally being out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anita. That was really massive and comprehensive set of information about the thematic platforms. Thank you very much. We have a few questions on the chat here, and then I have some questions in my mind. So Riikka, would you like to ask the question what you had in the relation of scale up?
Yeah, I can. Hello, I'm Riikka Tanskanen from South-Savo
Hello.
Regional Council. Thank you for the presentation. It was really interesting, and we have actually a few cases that we could consider in the region of telling others that they could apply. So we're going to look more into the details. But the scale-up question I had, that it's fairly specific because I was thinking that the scale up normally replies to the fact that you have something in the lab and then you put it further, but then there is other kinds of technical issues also that you could have something that is existing technology that if you can actually bend it around a bit and use it in other ways or make new ways of utilizing it. I'm not sure if I can make my point across, but that's what I'm trying to say, that is that possible in this instrument of funding, because those are kind of the things that we might be interested in, that there is existing technology, but it's not so much a scale up, but putting into new circumstances and using it a bit differently than before.
Definitely, because then this would apply to the area of piloting and demonstration. So yeah. I would definitely say yes to that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And then we had another question from Petri in the relation of Norwegian parties to join the collaboration.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is something that we are still trying to get more clarification, because as I said, on one hand they said Horizon Europe rules apply. On the other, we are talking about the element about the funding instrument of the regional cohesion policy. So this needs to be clarified. But from what we were told, that the third countries and associate countries, could apply. And that there is no that there is no problems in that regard. So I would say that then Norway would be eligible in this case, and we do have some partners that are part also of the ESRI platform coming from Norway. So I guess then this is the answer, but still we want to be careful. I want to be careful in that regard, and we are still waiting for the Commission to really confirm on that fact.
And then to reply also to part of if the Norway as such could participate to S3 partnership, I can already say from my own experiences from the other partnership that any partnership you can have partners from non-EU member states, because the partnerships as such are not funded. It's operations what the regions are organizing between each others. So that won't be the problem at all to have them involved. That's what I know on my side. Do we have any other questions there? You can just open the mic and ask your questions. If not, I do have a few, and then we will jump to the good experiences what we have had from among the Finnish partners, particularly from the eastern of Finland. Is there anyone? Okay, I have one first on the relation of this I3. This is more like to ask the confirmation, because I know that when we are used to work with the European Structural Development Fund, we always think about the state aid rules. But in this case, the money comes directly from the DG Regio. So we don't have to worry about the state aid rules, because states are not.
Yes.
They are not between the money. Yeah,
exactly.
It comes directly. Yes. But that might be then the case if we think about that other 30%. So I believe that it has to be considered very carefully that where from the other 30% is it's taken, and to make sure that that won't make any restrictions, because the way how this money as a structural development fund from the European Structural Development Fund is used a very exceptional way, actually, to if you look the traditional way of using this source of financing.
Yeah, that is true, and that's why we also ask for the clarification in that regard. I believe that now in these days, and okay, we are already almost at the 30th of September, which means that the call will be out in a few days in any case. But there is also the working group on the I3 that we also taking part through our partners, and we will be consulting the Commission in that regard. So whatever we still find like missing information, even after even after the info day, we can then organize another session if need be to really go into the details of, as you were saying, the eligibility in terms of the partners, the modality in terms of the financing, meaning then how really to combine the funding, either if we are talking about the blending finance, coming into this 30% on coming from the structural funds, etc., so that everybody is really clear, on these terms, and that there are no misunderstandings, when putting the application together. And I believe that there will probably 1 or 2 rounds, sessions, needed with the Commission in order to clarify all these elements.
Yes, and maybe we can also say that this is definitely something new as well. It's a very new type of instrument, combining elements which haven't been combined such a way earlier. So it means that this is the first round is also the learning round.
Yes, and, it's going to be learning by doing.
Yes,
I agree.
Yes, exactly. So at the same time, when we are encouraging the potential partnerships to develop the proposal in there, I think it's also good to follow up what is the delivery from the first round, because at the same time there are a number of partnerships who have worked very hard to this direction as well.
I completely agree, and what I can confirm is that the Commission already said, and this will be the mandate also of the I3 working group, that all the, let's say, not irregularities, but everything, that will be spotted, with this, first calls in terms of, challenges, and outstanding issues will then, be, applied in terms of, modification, to the follow-up calls, or, giving, better, information, to the applicants so that, this is overcome. But it's very much true. So, this first round, it will really really be the learning process, and I think it'll be, easier in a way, for the, for the second round and for the applicants that will decide to go to apply, at that time, that it will be much easier, to know, how then, this should look like.
Thank you.
In
Then
terms
I have
of the process.
Yes. Then I have one more question, and then we go into the practical cases. When it comes to the how to benefit from a thematic partnership, and I would like to ask your opinion about in the relation of blending financing and the synergic funding approaches, because if we look now the policy of the DG Regio, they have pointed that European Structural Development Fund should be synergized, I'm trying to pronounce the word correctly, synergized with the 14 other EU funding programs like Horizon Europe, Digital Program, LIFE, Invest EU, and so on. So what kind of role the thematic partnerships could actually take here? Because the starting point for that synergization is smart specialization. So could we actually think that by having this thematic partnership, which is based on the smart specialization, and the regions have already found the complementarities and commonalities to work with, so those could be actually very fruitful platforms also for the developing those proposals, benefiting and using the Horizon Europe, LIFE, and the others as example, because it's a smart specialization, which is the common phenomenon there.
Definitely, and this is what I was also saying the last time. That we spoke is also what we are trying to do as the experts, because this synergies and utilization of this blended finance was always a lot of wording in the air. But at the end, there are just very few that were able to really put this into practice. And this is where the experience of the S3 partnerships really come into place, because by looking for different type of resources, depending on what were the partnerships needs, the partnerships really found a way on how to find what kind of funds are the most suitable, and how to match them. And this is what we are now trying to do, to put kind of a guide on how this could really work, depending on these phases, and really then showcase which were the cases that can manifest this. So Christina, also whatever cases you have, this will be very beneficial, because this is kind of the questions that always appears, especially with the partnerships that are just starting. And then, as I was saying, depending on the type of the development, so it would be very, good, to show, what it was operationally, what operationally worked, what didn't, so that we can also kind of, provide, recommendation what then needs to be done, in terms of this, missing links. But the partnerships were really amazing in that regard, because they were really finding the way.
Thank you, Anita. And now we are going to have a small roundtable sharing the experiences with 3 of the partnerships where our colleagues all around Eastern North Finland are partners at. And I would like to invite Pirkko Sivonen, as a project manager in the Innofor Sport project, but also representing the leading region in the sport and vitality. And then we have Ilkka Nykänen, project manager from Business Joensuu, but as well representing the leading region in the mining industry. And third, we have Teija Rautiainen, research manager from South and Eastern University of Applied Sciences, and they are partners in traceability and big data agri-food partnership. 2 other partnerships are from industrial modernization. So welcome all of you. And
Thank you.
And you have got some questions pre-hand already, but maybe we could make it on the 2 round, and we would like to hear your learnings and lessons learned from this. And if you first would like to tell us that I will put on the way that first of all, how has your regions benefiting from this interregional collaboration? And then secondly, what motivates to be in the partnership? And maybe that motivation could be the first part of the question, and then how that motivation actually provided some beneficial and what is the added value, how it has helped your participation. You also represent a different type of organization, university, business development, and the regional council. So that's also very interesting combination of that how different type of regional actors could take the role in the partnership. But maybe we go in the same order than you are named. So maybe Pirkko, you would start, and then Ilkka could continue, and then Teija, if you will tell your point of view, and maybe you could tell 2-3 words about the partnership as well, although it has been informed earlier for the participants. Thank you, Pirkko.
Thank you, Kristiina. Maybe I could clarify in the beginning that yes, I'm from the regional council and a project manager in this Ina for Sports project, and that way very much involved in Glassport. And this partnership has been established already in, I think, 2017, and one of the founders is Kristiina. But today we have, since the partnership has evolved in Lapland, we have also given the kind of main coordination responsibility to the Lapland University of Applied Sciences, because they have more operational role. But I'm filling in for them today, and of course the regional council is still actively taking part in this partnership. And well, why are we in the partnership? To go to Kristiina's question, I think quite often the first answer and the easy answer, and what we've been discussing here today is of course the projects and the project funding, and we have good experiences of that, how we have gotten involved in the regional projects through Glassport and found great partners. But I think that it's not the full story, because the project and the funding, I see it's that, of course, they are the tool to achieve these bigger goals and bigger things. And in Glassport, we of course want to create growth and new business, new innovations in the field of sports and vitality. So we are placing us to the more to the care for health kind of context rather than the healthcare, and we see that it's a big there's huge potential over there. What else would I say? But I think yes, maybe the main motivation and the main takeaways, of course, is the learning from others. It's having this kind of peer support when doing things, and I believe that in Lapland we are doing a lot of things that I don't think we would be doing without Glassport and without the interregional partnerships. And currently we are working on this European network of innovation hubs for sports and vitality, which is our main initiative currently, and which we are aiming to take to this I3 call, maybe to this new opening one or the next call after that. And these things are all the development is kind of nowadays happening under this umbrella of this network of innovation hubs. And it has really helped us to kind of find a way to recognize our excellences, to focus what we are doing, and maybe to also find the next steps, that how do we get to our goals with the help of the great partners we have maybe there shortly.
Thank you, Pirkko, very much. What about you, Ilkka? What are your main findings and motivation?
Okay, thank you, Christina. First of all, I would like to remind that I'm coming from business area, so my focus is quite much in business and how to increase and create better opportunities to small and medium-sized enterprises to create better business. And this partnership here, we are leading this, the North Karelia, and I am leading this with Christina from Lapland. So doing this together, and we have done this around 3 years already. And I think that one big issue for us is that we have become a part of something bigger family where we together have a stronger voice to influence, for example, for future policy making and so on. This is the one thing. But the second thing is that, and I would like to emphasize that we have got a great added value from our partners related, for example, to large EU project development. We have to remember that projects and EU funding, this is the mechanism how we are running all this system. So we have to be very good in this manner. So when the high quality project planning is needed, it's easier to do with the competent partners who you know already and you trust them already. So when you've been working for years with the same partners, you have learned a lot from them and get a trust with them. And this partnership, I think this has given an opportunity to work several years together. So we have learned a lot from each others, and we've been able to share, complement different expertise as well. This is very important. And I think that almost all added value we've been talking here, almost all added value and benefits are based on trust and shared common interest and aims together with your partners. I think these are the basic things why we are interested to join this kind of partnership. That's something I would like to say.
Thank you, Ilkka. And what about you, Teija? How you feel?
So we are part of this traceability and big data partnership, and the interest there is the agri-food, combining agri-food sector and the ICT sector. They are working closely in some cases already, but I think there are much opportunities in our region and all over the Europe with this traceability and big data issues. I think one of the motivations to be part of this partnership was also that this kind of partnership keep us updated on what is going on. So it's a source of information, and as a University of Applied Sciences, it's also our task to spread this kind of information for the companies and SMEs and other stakeholders in the region. Also, the takeaways, I think, also understanding this kind of partnership and the mechanism, how they work, and then find ways to be part of this kind of collaboration is quite important, because when you are new in this EU instruments and systems, you have a lot to learn. So this is a good and supported way of doing it. Well, we've been asked for partners for 2 Horizon projects and 1 Marie Skłodowska project, and I think these partnerships would not have been otherwise. It was the network which made it possible. Unluckily, these funding applications were not successful for the end, but anyway, there is this network going on. We were also participating for this interregional scaling project of this nature code system. Our region was testing this nature code traceability system, and we were looking also for companies who would be interested to be in this European collaboration with these Spanish and Italian companies, but no company in our region was interested. So we were not participating for the scaling project that they got the DAFT support from. But maybe we can find also from our region a company looking for these kind of opportunities. And I think one of the takeaways is also that we have to be very active ourselves and ask and offer and be active. I think that's the work, because it's collaboration and it goes both ways.
Thank you very much. Actually, I can say that we haven't practiced that workshop at all. And when I was thinking about Anita's presentation at the beginning, to telling that what are the benefits from this such a kind of collaboration, and actually something what Anita highlighted, you actually gave the explanations, all of you, that how it has been in practice provided the added value and how it has supported you to motivate in this partnership. And also to ask one more question, and also feel free if you would like to ask the questions from each others that about the experiences, because as said, these are very different type of partnerships, and I think that this traceability and big data is among the sport and vitality, the one starting as a traditional way that there was just an initiative for the partnership, and I think that this traceability and big data was actually launched in 2017 as well, when there was a smart regions conference in Helsinki, and you have started the collaboration, and through the collaboration you are finding the way to develop the projects. And if we compare the mining industry was actually initiated by the project. So there are also different kind of starting points for these partnerships. And you already also highlight these benefits of developing the joint project. But if we could still summarize, if you would, what are your recommendations if you think about the 3 tips on creating best possibility added value? How would you encourage others, and why would you encourage others to take active role and to participate on this partnership? And what are your 3 main messages what you would like to give? Would you like to start, Pirkko?
Yes, I think my takeaways, I think they are quite well in line with the previous speakers as well. And I think maybe the first tip, and I think the biggest one, is to be proactive. I think you get as much as you give to the partnership. And the other one, maybe for those who are maybe newcomers in this partnership, or maybe they are joining a new partnership, is this kind of don't be scared, just do and learn by doing. And I think this is also that because you have the partnership, you have the support, you have the peers you can trust, and you can learn together. I think that is my second one. And maybe third one, we speak a lot about interregional funding and we are always aiming for it, but I think it's important to also remember the regional funding and linking it to the interregional, that you can do regional things and still kind of original project, but there can always be the link to the interregional, and I think it makes things possible when you start from the regional project and you include these interregional aspects in it. I think it gives a lot.
Thank you, Pirkko. That was very good points. What about Ilkka? What you would like to highlight? I think that you are muted. Ilkka, we are not able to hear you.
Yes, I'm sorry.
It was a practice.
Yes. Well, I think I don't share you 3 ones, but one thing I would like to share, and which I see in a common level when we are creating a new partnerships, is to share the same interest and the same interest to create something together. It doesn't mean that everyone in the partnership have to be business orientated, but you have to share a common aim where there is detailed aims which are, let's say, focusing to the same big aim. So that gives a good opportunity to create a long-term cooperation, which is very useful. As I said before, the long-term cooperation is one big issue, which is for looking for here, because this creates a good basis to create a good things.
Thank you. Thank you, Ilkka. And what about you, Teija? What you would like to add here?
Yeah, I think I will also add one tip. I think this kind of partnership requires quite a lot of explanation and discussions in our region. I'm giving this tip because I feel that we haven't done it so well as it should have been done. So we have to be very transparent and also clarify and explain and hear the other viewpoints for this matter. So how can these actors, SMEs and RDI actors and other stakeholders in our region, what kind of possibilities this kind of partnership provides them, and what benefits they can get? So so getting this partnership lively, this kind of discussions are needed.
That was very good point, actually, Teija, what you pointed out, and then I think that is a very relevant, because everything starts from the everything needs to have a foundation, and the foundation starts from the regions and from the regional stakeholders. That was a very good point. Anita, I would like to ask you if you have any questions or comments there.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think that all of the noted insights are very beneficial and great to hear, and this is very much in line what I think I also said a bit, in the beginning, and how I feel when working with the partnerships. So it's good to hear that everybody thinks that definitely there are benefits, and I really agree that this opportunity to work together, to exchange, to start with one initiative project and then have the opportunity to get into another, having this long-term goals also, as Ilkka was mentioning, and I mean strategic vision for the partnership, then the platform gives a great opportunity for that. But also, as I was saying, understand what are also the challenges, and when we are here talking about the motivation, it really needs to be, kept, at a certain level, all the time, so that, this interest, doesn't go away. So kudos for, congratulations for organizing, this type of event. And I agree that, this, should maybe become kind of a regular exchange, because definitely, depending or, where you are and which, partnership you are involved and initiatives, it helps a lot on, having this kind of dialogues and, also learning, from the others, how they have overcome, certain issues, where they are, etc. My question would maybe more to be, having in mind, the mandate and what I was, saying in the beginning. What would you like to be improved? Especially, when it comes, to, the commission, being, the one, the main actor, behind the platform, because of course, you are doing your best, in keep this ongoing. But what would you like, to see being improved, changed, or, what is the advice that you would like me to give to the commission in that regard?
Okay, now you have opportunity for that. Pirkko, you are the first one. I start from you.
I think what comes to mind, yeah, of course, we've discussed the challenge that there's no resource for the coordination, but I think everyone is aware of the challenge. But I think one is that we've found it really helpful to have this reconfirm and this support, and that I think we have this feeling that there's always a bit of uncertainty that will this sort of support continue? What will happen next year? And I think we've been living in this uncertainty quite a long time. And I think because we would like to see that sort of support happening in the long term, because for us it's been really useful to have even this reconfirmed representative in our meetings and bringing their insights and the kind of latest gossip from the commission. I think that's maybe my wish.
Thank you. Ilkka.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that it's been very good to have the help from Reconfirm and DAF and all of them. But what I think I would like to say is the most challenging right now, because we've been running these 3 years without any resources to create cooperation. Well, everyone has funded that by themselves, and we have pointed out this many times. But I would like to emphasize that this is very important, and hopefully we will find some help for that, and resources, because this helps us a lot to do the better cooperation. Thanks.
Thank you. And Teija, would you like to highlight some points?
Well, I would say the same as Ilkka and also Pirkko earlier. So these resources for this cooperation in the region and between regions, this is just one task I have to do, and time is really limited. Other tasks too. And also we have had this Cecilia Caron working with this partnership, and I think this kind of help and expertise explaining of this, what is happening and what is happening, and bringing partners together, it has been helpful. So continuous of that would be extremely nice.
Thank you. I think that was one very clear message from all the participants. Would you still like to add something, Anita?
I'm sorry, I'm taking notes. No, this is what other partnerships have been also highlighting with us as well, and this is definitely gonna be the message. Even though the Commission often says, well, you knew what you were getting into when expressing your interest under the platform. So this is the joint effort, and you have to also, find resources on your own. But then, at least in that regard, what it will be helpful, at least then to know where to find those resources. So as I was saying, this is something that we're also trying, to find out and provide this type of guidance, for the partnership. And also, I would add that as it was started this July to continue, but having this more effective type of talks with the different departments of the Commission, so that they're really more aware of the challenges, and then also because usually they also don't talk to each other, so it will be good to have different also departments on board. So if DG Regio is not in charge of something, but DG Grow is, that they can then work, in synergy in finding, and finding the way how to address the type of issues that the partnerships are facing. So I would add that, this is the dialogue that also needs to continue because of all this great work that all of you are doing. That then, they're also more aware of the things that are happening at the regional level and what are the bottlenecks, for the partners and the regions in really, getting the projects, close to the market, or whatever initiatives, what is actually blocking this process. And what we found out when supporting the partnerships, and also in terms of TAF, it was that the governance, was very questionable in that regard. And, like the type of legal entities, you would need to have on board if you want to apply for funding and go further with investments. And this then is really very much different from case to case. And we had legal experts working on this, which means that, partnerships by themselves hardly, would be able, to come up, with this kind of advice. So maybe it is also, the advice would be that, depending on the maturity, that also the Commission is much more involved and engaged in providing then, tailor-made support on the issues that you may have. Because as I said, different partnerships are facing different issues depending on the stage of development. So we will also try to work on that as well.
Thank you. So it's about the closing this event. I wrote down some closing remarks, but maybe we will just put those remarks on the website of this event afterwards, together with Pirkko and Paula. But thank you all. And I think that the one main takeaway what I would like to highlight here is that I at least feel that all the hard work done by the partnerships who have been the guinea pigs on such a kind of collaboration in smart specialization and finding the joint interregional initiatives supporting the regional development, regional initiatives, but together find the complementarities between and with the other partners from the other regions to develop and find the bigger picture. We also have to work in the regional level. That was a very important remark what Teija said as a last point, and I think that is something what we have to keep in mind, because everything starts from there. But I believe also that one very message to all of us, that although the work with the ERC Sevilla have been very fruitful and very beneficial, and they have done a huge work helping the Commission to launch this whole network, and by providing the added provide and support and facilitate it in addition with the Reconfirm. I believe that the big message and the big sign from the European Commission to see that this work is important is that DG Regio is taking actually this under its own armpit. So I think that that is something what each of us should understand, that this is not just networking because of the networking. They are really taking very serious look at from us, and it's really up to us, as it was said by Pirkko, that we can benefit as much as we want to benefit, and it's up to us how we are there. And together with that, like Ilkka said, that having the big picture, and together we can be stronger. So, and then when we are actually under the armpit of the European Commission, we should actually see that we are, after all, in a very good position. So let's use it, and let's make these partnerships also benefit our regions and our regional collaborations. Thank you very much for everyone to participate.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I would just like add one more thing, just the fact that Finnish regions are almost leading regions in every partnership says a lot. So keep on going with the great work, because you have a lot to offer to the other partners. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.